Good morning and happy Tuesday 10 at 10. I am your host, Richard Charpentier, and today we will be answering the questions that were sent to Bakerpedia, and we'll take 10 minutes to answer most of your questions. So let's get started. The first question we have is, how do you get the steam buns to look lily white rather than brownish? So if you do steam buns, the concept of doing steam buns is quite simple. Steam bun is the way, instead of baking the traditional conventional baking, it's in a box that creates steam, same as you would steam vegetables, anything like that. But here is the thing: once you steam, if it's properly being steamed, it's at 212 degrees, which is Fahrenheit, which is when it steams, you will not brown. And that's what people who steam, in order to add color, they will add coloring like turmeric and anything to make it yellow, or some people will finish it in the oven. But if you're browning, that means you're not steaming. So, and because the proper way of steaming is it's going to stay pale and white, lily white. So I recommend, and you get a steam box. That's what's being used in schools and everything to do the vegetables, steaming the vegetable with the vegetable trays, and that's what's being used for the traditional steam buns. So I wish you good luck with that, but that would fix it. There's no need to add anything else. So next question, what is better to use for brioche, a sponge, a poolish, or a biga? So my answer is simple. You can make a brioche straight. So the more time you're adding, whether or not you want to do a poolish, you want to do a biga, or you want to do a sponge, it's going to add flavor and it's going to add strength. So what time do you have in your bakery to make the brioche you want to make? Personally, I always made my brioche by mixing my dough and leaving the brioche, the dough, in the refrigerator overnight, at least for 12 hours. And then I would use it the next day. So I would give strength and fermentation, and it sort of cooled down. And I always made very good brioche using that method. So whether or not you're trying to use a sponge, a biga, or a poolish, it's up to you. Each method will create a different flavor and a slightly different texture. So I recommend you create your own. But that's a good question. Thank you for sending it. Now, next question: citric acid versus ascorbic acid. Does citric acid do the same thing as ascorbic acid? If it does have the same effect, how much should that be used? So very good question. So let's talk about acids, because both of them, ascorbic and citric, are both acids. Very from a chemical standpoint, they're similar, different, but from a functional standpoint, they're very different. One, citric acid is used to lower the pH, and by the way, they do have different pHs and the way they impact. But the citric acid is being used to lower pH in foods, in bakeries, and then also it's being used to create the tart flavor that sometimes you get from food. It's been used for lemon. You're making a lemon donut and people put a little bit of citric just to get that tang, that tartness in the background. As ascorbic acid is also an oxidizing agent used in bread making to give you strength. So basically strengthening the gluten network while making bread. So can citric acid do what ascorbic acid is doing? The answer is no, you can't. So you will have to find another alternative in order to replace ascorbic acid, another dough conditioner that will give you the strength. Because if you remove the ascorbic and you're trying to put citric, it's not going to work. So I recommend either through enzymes. There's a lot of different dough conditioners that you can use to give you the strength for your commercial line that would work as well as ascorbic acid. But again, and anything with product development, I always say it takes time. So take your time to do your work. So, but great question. Yep, they're different. So now to the next question, we have in the croissant we made in our bakery, when we baked in the oven and keep to cool, the crust is dry and take out like a sheet after the product appear in undesirable shape. Can you help us to prevent the crust to remade? So I'm not quite sure, you know, because the way it's written is very difficult to understand. But if it appears that what you're saying is like you get a crust being formed on the top and sort of peeling off. The only thing is to cover it up, so, and your relative humidity is not proper, so you're creating a dry crust based on how you're processing it, and basically controlling the environment and controlling the relative humidity will help you out. But that's the best I understand the question. I'm sorry, but that's the best I can do, because I was not sure what the answer was. But thank you for sending the question. Now for the last question, we are asking about par-baked pizza. I'm trying to store par-baked pizza in the refrigerated state for up to 72 hours. I'm having a difficult time getting the product past 48 hours without the crust having serious dry out effect. What can I do to increase the shelf life of my par-baked pizza in the refrigerator? I'm not able to seal the products as my products are going into the oven. This is part of an automated pizza kiosk I am building. So here is the thing is, once you get into a refrigeration, so we're talking about between 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the point at which the staling of the crust will be accelerated. This is that time when staling gets accelerated. You can look it up, look at Bakerpedia about staling. There's lots of good information. And at that point, in order to make it work refrigerated, you have to basically formulate for it. And I wish I could say, hey, just put a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's all done, and the problem is fixed. This is a project that if you want to validate, because there's nothing worse than building a kiosk, having a concept, spending the money, but yet a product that doesn't work very well past the 48 hours. It requires moisture management. It requires formulating properly for refrigeration. It requires understanding that, you know, the risk, because the key to selling that type of concept is you want consumers to get the same experience day in and day out every time they come to your kiosk. So it's about putting the right blend together. You know, what kind of wheat flour are you starting with? You know, do you have waxy starches? What is your pH? And if there's no packaging, you know, do you have any risk of contamination? So I have a million questions right now for you. And again, if you're interested, remember on the Bakerpedia page, you can go to resources and request for consultant to basically support you, even if it's an hour. At least we guide you, put you in the right track to give you the best information we can based on, you know, in 1 hour, and so to help you make better decisions. But that was the last question. So thank you very much again for following Bakerpedia and Tuesday 10 at 10. I hope you all have a wonderful day today, and I will see you next week. Thank you, my friends.